What's up, YouTube? Hope everybody is doing well tonight. JT Best Ball here with the nightcap for you. We got some stuff to talk about tonight, and I got something new for y'all. So let's hit the intro and get right to it. What's up tonight, everybody? Hello, Dirty Pete. Glad to see you in here. What's up, Mark? So let's talk about what's new. You can see it scrolling across the bottom down there. And it was actually Mark's question earlier today that got me thinking about it. So from now on, if anybody wants me to do a deep dive on a particular player, why I am in on them, why I am out on them, if I'm just at, way over, way under, as I do when I've done deep dives before, I'll try to bring some research into it. We're not just totally feelings and vibes based over here. And I was on the way home tonight about an hour ago, and Mark hit me with a text and wanted me to talk to him about Lad. Said he's just having a hard time clicking him. He's looking for, in the second round, guys with ceiling plays versus guys with floor plays, and he thinks of Lad as more of a floor play. I disagree with that, and I think it's opposite. And at least, as you'll see in my exposures, we'll flip over to that. That's kind of how I've been drafting him. So right now, I have about 10% Lad in any regular style tournaments, your BBMs, the regular puppy, the Goldens, all of those. Y'all know what a regular style is. And I have 0% in eliminator of him through 34 drafts. What that tells me is that I look at him as more of a ceiling play. And I'm going to share this screen with you guys. Hold on one second. So one reason why I say that, this is just your classic ESPN game log. Why do we draft rookies? We draft rookies for their late season upside. When you look at his game log, you have to keep in mind he is a rookie, So, yeah, he didn't really start off, with the Thunder, but starting here around the New Orleans game, 6 catches, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. In the Cincy game, another win, 6 catches, 123 yards, didn't get in the end zone that time. He had the Atlanta game, 9 catches, 117 yards. Again, no touchdown. He had another 2-touchdown game against New England, 8 catches, 94 yards, got in the end zone twice. The game I remember really well, a loss in the playoffs to my Texans, who I think we have a very, very good pass defense on both sides between Stingley and the rookie on the other side of him. And he was the only thing that, they didn't really end up being a close game, but throughout most of the game, it was closer than the final score. And he was the main reason. Even Sting had trouble covering him. To play a little bit off of those stats, so I'm not a big live or die by the yards per route run stat. I know some people don't look at it at all. Other people, that's their go-to for receivers, yards per route run. But sometimes I do like to take it into account. So when I was trying to dig up a little bit on him, I did find it interesting that he had a 2.59 yards per route run, which led all rookies. But even more so than that, against man coverage, he had a 2.98 versus man coverage, which was the second highest yards per route run amongst 57 receivers with 115 total routes or more against man coverage. Okay, what do the Chargers like to do? Part of Mark's argument was they're a run first team. Yeah, I mean, they like to run the rock. Yes, they got a good run offensive line. Yes, they brought in Najee, and yes, they drafted Hampton. But what do teams do on defense to try to stop the run the most? They play a lot of man coverage because that's the best way to stop the run game. When you play man coverage, you can be real sound in what gaps you're attacking as a defense. Whereas, when you're playing more zone, even if you're trying to blitz, it's more of a zone blitz. You can get some big openings, big runs. Traditionally, if you're really trying to focus on stopping a team's run, you're going to run a pretty heavy man defense scheme against them for the most part. He's clearly Justin Herbert's favorite target. They second half of the season last year, they had a great connection. Another thing I love about him is he doesn't really drop passes. I mean, we look at his game log, 8 out of the 10 targets, 5 out of the 7 targets, 9 out of the 7 targets, 9 out of the 6 targets, 5 out of 7. He has a bunch of 6 out of 6, 6 out of 6, 6 out of 6. He's very sure-handed, and they seem to have a really, really, really awesome connection. Here's another tab I'll share with you. So this is just one of the few home leagues that I still actually play in. It's from good old Yahoo. And I like to look at the stats on this particular league. I don't run it. I'm just been in it with a bunch of guys forever. And this particular scoring system is your basic scoring system as far as the receivers and running backs. So it's your standard half point PPR, no bonuses or anything like that. It's literally the same things you get points for on Underdog. And Ladd was, again, if you take into account the fact that he was a rookie, so he did start off, pretty slow, and he plays on a running team, he still held his own. And yeah, there are guys who we're definitely taking ahead of him on Underdog: Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon, Brian Thomas, London, But then there are some guys that we are taking after him. But could he have an even better year this year, now that he's going into a second year, even more so connection with Justin Herbert? The teams in his division, right, are better. Like, we're drafting Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, they're going to be back to just throwing it all over the place. Everybody's pretty high on Denver as an offense overall. The Raiders, they're much improved. They got Genty, Bowers in year 2. Chip Kelly's coming in, and everyone expects him to run a real high-paced offense, which in those 2 games against the Raiders, it's going to speed the pace of the game up. So, yeah, I could definitely see him having, let's say, 100 catches, 1,200 yards. We'll just leave the touchdowns at 7 or 8 because they're unpredictable, and I don't think he'll be a 17 or 12 touchdown guy. I think I could see a really good year, him getting to 9 or 10 touchdowns. And if that's the case, I mean, that's putting him up there. CD Lamb last year, he had 101 catches for 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. Drake London, he had 100 receptions, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. I'm not saying Ladd should be drafted over those guys, but I think Ladd is a good pick where he's going right now. That's what it kind of boils down to me. Hold on, I accidentally closed out the screen before I switched it. We'll just go ahead and share the one that we need to be on anyways. But anyways, you guys tell me what you think in the comments section. You can see I'm not really, he's definitely not a I need to take as much of him as I can type guy. I guess let's go ahead and get in the draft. We're going to start with the pit bull tonight. because, like most of the new contests, it's filling up at a quicker pace than I want it to. 20-second pit bull in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think this is one of the better tournaments. To be honest with you, I mean, trying to look, where's the fill rate on, not the fill rate, there it is. I mean, $20, one of six in week 15. So very good, structure as far as getting out of the playoffs. One of five in week 16. So again, you only got to beat four other people in week 16, five other people in week 15. If you get to the final, it's 156 person final, and you're walking away with at least $500. I mean, it's only a 10 max, so essentially, if you maxed it at your 10 entries for your $200, if you get one team to the final, you're making more than double your entry fee, your total entry fee for the tournament. You don't see that in a whole lot of tournaments. So I definitely think bang for the buck wise, this is one of the better tournaments. And even if I have to jump in some slows, it'll definitely be one that I max. We filled up pretty quickly. Just glancing over it, I don't recognize anybody in here. But I would definitely highly recommend, even if you don't want to max it, playing in it some. You really can't ask for a better structure, in my opinion. I'm at the turn here. I haven't been at the turn in a while. We'll see what we want to do. I'm also going to, as the second round goes on, we'll see exactly where Lad goes, since he was the talking point today. And again, if you missed it at the very beginning, if you want me to do a deep dive like the one that I just did on Lad, when the video is over, when the live streams end, or any of my previous live streams, hop back in the video, like it if you forgot to do it the first time, leave that player in the comment section. I say once the video is not live because then it's easier for me to just see it's there, it doesn't go away. And I will do some research and I'll give you my percentages of said player. I know I'm going Nico. I kind of like to break ties with London and BTJ by who I have less of, and I have twice as much London right now as I do Nico. I mean, as I do Brian Thomas, so we're gonna go Brian Thomas. But anyways, I thought it was a fun idea. You guys know I'm always trying to think of different ways, different little things to add. Let's catch up on some of the chat since we're on the long way around. Well, first we want to. I was just telling Mark before the stream, and it was in my thumbnail. Get ready to learn first round A-Chan. I know I didn't start with the Janu news because I figured y'all have heard it enough all day today. The obvious is my take that Janu needs to fall a whole lot now. Luckily, I'd not really drafted much Janu at all. Very, very little of him. I have drafted a decent amount of Fryermuth. I'll probably slow down on him because I don't want my percentage to be too heavy now with Janu there also. I think it helps Waddle, and I think it helps A-Chan a lot. I wish now I would have been drafting a lot more of A-Chan because he is about to be a lot more expensive. But Lad, the talking guy today, like I'm always taking Drake London over him. Kind of right in here is where it gets interesting to me. Like, I don't really know if I have a true preference. Lad over Bowers. I guess it just depends if I want to go elite tight end with a particular team. They play different receiver versus tight end position. I'm going to take Lad over AJ Brown myself. That's just me. Y'all know I'm not drafting Rashee Rice in the second round. That could definitely come back to haunt me this year. I just can't do it. So I kind of like Lad right where he's at. Right here, kind of that early to mid second round part. And again, he's not a player that I'm like super, super high on or anything. What's up, Doc? Good to see you in here, my man. What's up, Who Hames? If Bucky Irving had, you know, ass. All right, my man. All right. Good to see you in here, but that's a good laugh. I do not draft any Bucky Irving, and I don't want any part of him. The Chargers invested a lot in their running backs and O line, and Harbaugh wants to run the ball. Greg Roman is a run OC. Lad has a high floor, but is there in the 20s. They're going to run the ball. I mean, he had running backs last year, and he had pretty dang good O line last year, and they still threw the ball to Lad in particular a fair amount. Like, I'm not saying that's probably one reason why I don't draft a ton of Justin Herbert, and I don't think that I've drafted Justin Herbert on any teams that I didn't already have Lad on. Let me make these picks real quick. I wanted my boy Lamar right there, but they took care of that for me. You know what? I haven't drafted Allen in a while, and Lamar went. So I'm going to go ahead and get Allen, and I'm going to go Brees. We'll go ahead and grab a running back. Josh Allen, Brees, Nico, and Thomas in the receiver room. That's fair though, Mark, and you know that's what that's what I was talking about last night. You know that like that's to me the beauty of best ball is like we have all summer and it's already gotten so big. There's still room to grow, but now so many new content creators like myself, so many new people getting more and more into it, like you in particular, the last few years. I don't think you really even started drafting much until July. And then from July on, you were drafting pretty decently, pretty heavy. Whereas this year, you've been on into it like us since May. And everybody, has different takes, everybody has different opinions. And we get to talk about it and have fun with it all summer long. And then, we will all be right about some things. If we know the game of football at all, it's hard to be wrong about everything. Some of us will be right more than others, but we will all also be wrong about a lot of stuff. And to me, that's part of the beauty of it. Mark says, "What's up? Who? There will be 0 first round A-Chan clicking in my portfolio." Yeah, I guess depending on if I was at the 12th spot, I may think about taking him at the 1-2 turn if it gets to where, let's say his ADP gets right here at the end of the first. I think he'll kind of settle right here, maybe an ADP of 14, 13, something like that, where you can still kind of get him at the turn. I mean, I don't see him as long as McCaffrey stays healthy, I don't see him jumping him. He's not jumping Puka. He's probably not jumping Brown. I don't think he's jumping Nico. Probably not Brian Thomas. I don't think he should be ahead of London. I don't. It's weird because I feel like the Janu trade today definitely helps Achan the most, and I do want more Achan, but I'm at that tough decision because I don't necessarily want to draft him over Drake London. I don't necessarily want to draft him over Brian Thomas, and I don't want to draft him over Nico. So I honestly don't know how much more of him I will end up with. I didn't have zero, but I had pretty dang close to zero. I'll have to go look in a minute on the next long trip around. All teams will run the ball. That is true, some more than others. I mean, you could say Gus Bus was a bust, but also he wasn't their main running back. Dobbins was for the most part last year, and he was pretty good in the offense. And again, it goes back to like, he had the second highest yards per route run against man coverage. If the Chargers really are killing people with the run, what are teams going to have to play? They're going to have to play a lot of man coverage because that's the best way schematically to stop a team's run game is play man coverage, plug each gap. I might go Kamara here. I haven't really been getting. Nobody's wanting to take running backs today. I don't want to necessarily go Mixon. We got two running backs. Let's go Rome. Of all the Bears running backs, Rome is the one that I'm kind of the most into right now. I know he didn't have that great of a year last year, but it is, a new offense, a new scheme, a new coaching staff coming in. He's the only one that supposedly isn't in Ben Johnson's doghouse for some reason or the other. You know what? I like Achan over CMC, but I also don't really draft CMC in the first round over Neighbors or Puka. So maybe I will start taking some Achan at the end of the first if I have to. I kind of hope he does. I mean, if he stays right where he went today, like let's say the second or third pick in the second round, then I can still get me some. I actually want to start. I didn't do it in this draft because we were at the very end. We were at the 12th spot. And again, I just don't really want to draft him over Nico or Brian Thomas or London. But any draft that I'm, say, 9, 10, and Nico will always be gone, but Brian Thomas and London are both gone already. Say they go 13, 14. Starting right here at 15 on, I'm going to start taking Achan pretty much every time because I do think that, like, you know how we overreact. There actually could be a world where he bumps up to say a 12 or 13 ADP, but then as the summer goes on, maybe he pushes back again a little bit to 15, 16. So I definitely want to take him over Genty right now, I think. I want to take him over Ladd. I want to take him over Bowers. So that's going to kind of be any draft, at least for the next week or so, that I'm in we'll call it the 9, 10 spot. And Nico, Thomas, and London are gone. He will definitely be a guy I'm trying to target. By the way, you guys know we always draft at least two teams. If any of you guys want to draft with me for the next draft, I'm open to what we draft. Throw it in the comment section. We can draft it together. What's up, Disbanded? Good to see you here, my man. Appreciate you stopping by. Who Hames agrees with Dirty B. I just have CMC around where HN is already. I was out on CMC last year, but this year I've been taking him, especially for eliminators. I think that's fair. I think I would probably be more likely to click CMC in an eliminator than in a regular style team, just because that is, of course, my biggest concern. Like probably most of you who have a concern, is can he hold up? Let's see, we don't really need to go running back here. You guys know how I feel about Hawkinson. We could always do that. I think I want to go Hawkinson. And I don't like any of those running backs since I have three wide receivers already. I just really, I don't know. I'm going to go Pittman. Probably should have reached down a little further for Higgins and got the double stack. But I'm trying to cool off for a couple days on Higgins because I do love clicking him. And I'm at 22% right now. And he's not a guy I want to be just sky high on necessarily. So that's how I'm kind of trying to manage my exposures. There's certain guys like, DJ Giddens. I'm going to draft DJ Giddens anytime that I'm around him or somewhat close to him. And there is a team, and I'm building a team that I think he's a good fit for, which is basically any team that doesn't have Jonathan Thomas on it. I'm going to draft him. I don't care what my percentage ends up being. I was super, super high on him as a prospect. I think he can catch the ball pretty well. He's electric. He's fast. Jonathan Thomas, JT always misses games. Always misses a few games a year. Oh, sorry about that. Put it back on the board for you guys. I was reading something. Try to catch up a little bit. HN legit worth a first round pick in full PPR. Oh, I would definitely agree in full PPR. Yeah, I mean, if I was still drafting on DraftKings a lot, I needed to go look at my DraftKings. I feel like in all those DraftKings Millie tournaments I was doing before I switched over to Underdog, I feel like I probably got pretty nice share of HN over there. I've been pounding the table for CMC as equal to or edging Saquon, so I'm not the guy to speak reasonably. I'm out on Saquon this year. Yes, he killed me last year. But at his price right now, I mean, Who Hames was talking about it. I think it was Who Hames earlier today was talking about on his stream that like to really, really hurt you at his price this year, he almost has to do more than what he did last year. And just historically, guys who touched the ball, he touched the ball, if you include the playoffs, 400 something times last year. And there's a lot of historic proof, stats, and stuff that guys who touch the ball that much in a season, generally the next season They don't kill it. They have injuries. It took a toll on their body. Either they have injuries or the team just has to back off of them because they can't handle that much work again. Lots of people have CMC number 2 or 3, and I get it, but we all play the way we feel. Right on, who? That's what I always preach. That's the beauty of this. We can all disagree, you know. We don't know yet who's right or who's wrong. Let me see. I took Hawkinson. I don't love the way this draft is going, to be quite honest. It's going okay. Guess we can do Scatterboo as one of our picks. Could go with the, well, no, he went now. Could go running back again and just be done for a while, but I don't really like any of those guys. Don't think I'm to the point we want to mess with a quarterback yet. I kind of have 2 guys in mind for later. We're just going to take Bateman. When in doubt, draft a Raven. That is my motto for this year. You can't go wrong, whether it's Andrews, whether it's Flowers, whether it's Bateman. I'm even grossly into DeAndre Hopkins in the late round. Likely is a good click. Y'all know where I stand on that team, though, this year in best ball. It is my favorite team to draft. I think they are going to be on a mission. The schedule and late buy makes too much sense to push him up in the eliminator for sure. I'll take after Puka and BBM. That's fair. Yeah, definitely in the eliminator. I'll have to go check my percentages, but I would almost bet you that I have more CMC in the eliminator than I do in regular formats. Mark has a question for who. He was working when I was working when we all were in that Superflex today, so I couldn't really chat. But I did hear the collective groan when I reached for Milrow. I just knew he wasn't going to come back around. You already know where I stand on Milrow, so we'll let who answer that one. It was a sharp group. I caught part of that draft. I didn't realize you were in it, Mark, but if it's the one I was watching some of, well, I say watching, I was listening to some of Who Hames today as I normally am. I don't really get to watch many streams. I listen to them while I'm busy doing other stuff or driving around doing the crap I need to get done. He says it was just like 3 rounds early. That's what the groan was for. I only had 2 quarterbacks. It was that or suck it up with Rattler. As long as your 2 quarterbacks had a bye week past Seattle's bye, I don't know. Probably could have waited another round or so, but I don't know exactly how the draft was unfolding. Let me make sure it's not getting too close back to me. No, it's not. We're good there. Hoping the Drafters mini launches tomorrow so I can do some of them and do my Superflex, not streamed. I think last year I did a few drafters. I don't know. I think this year I switched from DraftKings to Underdog, but since I switched to Underdog, I think I just want to focus on them. I don't really care too much for I guess if I wanted to just do the whole over the season thing, there's always the marathon here. I guess especially being new to playing a lot of volume on Underdog, at least this particular year. Nothing against drafters. I would just rather stick just to Underdog. There's so many different contests that are you can never get bored, or you can always find, something. And I just want to really, focus on it a lot and play as much volume as I can, get in on it. And it's also, fun learning all of the usernames and stuff. On DraftKings, I got to where I recognized so many of the people just by their little avatar pictures. I think we're going to go Trevor Lawrence. Maybe we could do Ray Davis as the second pick. Let's go Kincaid. I do not draft much Kincaid. When I do draft Kincaid, it's mostly on the Josh Allen team. I would rather take him over reaching up for a guy like Palmer. Palmer may be there on the next pick, but I don't even really like Palmer that much, even on a Josh Allen team. If it wasn't Kincaid, I probably would have honestly took Ray Davis, but I didn't necessarily want a running back right there. We're just going to keep it at those two QBs. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I very, very rarely draft three QBs. So I can almost guarantee you I'll stick with those two. Brees Hall, Kamara, Scatterboo. At the running back position, Nico, Brian Thomas, Rome, Pittman, and Rashard Bateman. At receiver, probably keeping it at two tight ends also with Hawkinson and Kincaid. The only exception I could possibly see is, I guess, let's see where my picks are. No. About to say, if I could get like a fall on Strange, I may think about taking him, just since we also have Lawrence. But I don't think I want to do that with this next set of picks. And I doubt he would come all the way back to 180. I just like the fact $300 can get you 150 drafts. Yeah, no, that's fair. Like I said, I'm not knocking them. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up doing some. I have been when there's no one else on to listen to. I've been listening to the Big Draft Energy and the other guy Sleazeball that drafts on there all the time. It's really a whole nother world if you haven't done a lot of that. I mean, even on DraftKings is full PPR. So, I know obviously the difference between full PPR and PPR and half point PPR. But you also, I think the biggest thing is like thinking about how you want to play the contest or how you want to draft your teams, with it being that marathon style, tournament, and just everything for the most part that I've ever thought about as far as best ball has always been, aside from maybe the eliminator, thinking about it as far as, okay, let me put a team together that is good enough to get out of the pod, but I'm really bringing this team, or I'm really building this team so that when it gets out of the pod, it is in its best position to be successful over that 3-week stretch, which is where we really needed to be killing it. But nothing against them. Drafters is coming up. If you do want to try Drafters out and you have not ever played on their site, Go follow Big Draft Energy on YouTube, and he has promo codes that you can get. Basically like I think it's 100% match or whatever if you're a new sign up. Let's see what we want to do here. I'm gonna go Jalen Wright because we got to click somebody. It's not a ton that I like here. I'm kind of cooling off on Pat Bryant, but there's nobody else that I really like in this section. You know what? We're going to go. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and go three tight ends. I know I'm keeping it at two quarterbacks, so I can afford to go three tight ends, even with the Hawkinson team. Maybe between Hawk and Kincaid and Strange, we can get a really good score each week if they ping pong just right. He stacks with my quarterback, so that gives me a nice little Trevor Lawrence double. If Cohen really comes in and is the guy that we think he is and can take T Law to the next step, then that could pay off pretty nicely for me. I didn't really like any of the receivers there. And with the five that I have, I mean, Nico, BTJ, Rome, Pittman, Bateman, I didn't feel it was a real need. And it's a little something different. I don't build too many. I very, not more times than not, if I have Hawkinson as my first tight end, he's kind of about that last guy as far as a tight end that I'm willing to just take one more with and be done with it at two. If I don't get Hawkinson or somebody ahead of him, then generally it ends up being three tight ends. Sometimes it's still two tight ends. It just depends. A lot of it depends on the quarterback too, because one thing I don't do a whole lot of is I do not do a whole lot of teams that are three quarterbacks and three tight ends. I just find that more times than not, I'm definitely okay doing 2 and 2 if I like my first tight end and I have one of the elite quarterbacks, which I do tend to draft a decent amount of Jaden, Lamar, and Allen. And I find that when I have one of those, then I'm always going two QBs. I don't draft three QBs with an elite QB, and so then I'm more likely to be willing to add a third tight end. Whereas if I don't get an elite QB, if I miss out on one of the top 3 or 4, we'll put Hurts in there too. Just the way my drafts have worked out, Hurts is a guy, especially where he goes, you know, in the fifth round right here, you can get him a lot. It seems like every time I'm in one of these early positions, he always goes somewhere here late fourth, which is where I don't necessarily want to take him. Whereas normally you can get him here in the early fifth, but when I'm in one of those spots, he doesn't ever seem to be there for me. He's a guy I wouldn't mind getting more of. But if I don't have one of them, then I almost always go three QBs, in which case I try to keep my tight ends at two. Let's start looking and see what we want to do here, though. 180 and 187. Probably going to go one running back. If he holds, we're going to go Hunter, I think, at running back. You know what? We're going to go Hunter and we're going to triple stack Lawrence. With this particular team, We always try to tell a story with our teams, right? And with this particular team, you guys know that I am out on Hunter this year. Don't draft him much at all. If he falls, then sometimes I'll take him. So with this particular team, we're telling the story that I'm right about Hunter and that he's an amazing player, but he's not going to run he's not going to run as many routes as he would if he was just solely an elite rookie wide receiver coming out of the draft. And so in this particular case, or for this team, Trevor Lawrence, led by his new caller Cohen, is just really killing it this year. Thomas is his main guy. De'Ami Brown has a few spike weeks or a couple spike weeks here and there. Strange is a good tight end that we're drafting in the 150s. And overall, the Jags offense is doing really well. Their defense isn't that good. In the games that they have a little off week or so, we still got Josh Allen as our main quarterback. That's the story that we are telling with this team. We have some good running backs too. We have two more picks coming up still. Let's go back and see what we missed. Apparently, we missed a lot. I will be surprised if we don't get new contests this week. Schnauzer 3. I'm kind of hoping for a Schnauzer 3 too, because I owe you guys the challenge draft still. And y'all guys gave me some interesting ideas for the challenge drafts, but I don't necessarily want to do it on a $20 pit bull that I only have 10 of. So that's what we're kind of waiting on. The next little $5, $7, $3 type contest. Another German Shepherd would be nice. Oh, you got a promo code, Who Hames? Are you talking about for drafters? Ah, okay. Well, there y'all go. Y'all don't even need to go find a new streamer. Just use our boy Who Hames promo code. I did not know that, my man. 100% match for $100. Mark wanted to know what the rake was. Let's get back and see what we want to do for these last two picks. What could we use most in the receiver room? We're going to take Smith as the running back. I don't know who I want to go with. I'm going to go with Mitchell because we already have Pittman. So it's kind of a nice little team correlation, if nothing else. They play the Jags week 17. So in my story that I was telling about the Jags offense, we are also going to be in week 17 in the Pitbull finals. And they're going to have one of those just shootout games between the Jags in Indy. Maybe it's a game to see who's second best in the division because we know Nico and the Texans will be the first place team. And it's just a shootout, back and forth, back and forth. A.D. Mitchell is catching a long touchdown pass. Pittman's getting peppered with targets from Daniel Jones all game. Trevor Lawrence is slinging it all over the place. That's the story we're going to tell. What do you guys want to draft next? Tell me. I'll call out the team in a second. Let me catch up on this chat a little bit. I want to see this guy right next to me too because I know. Okay, well he started Henry and Achan, and then he went Lamar and Daniels, and then he took a bunch of receivers and Brian Thomas. He only ended up with 5 running backs: Marshawn Lloyd and Mitchell at the very end. But I guess he had Brian Thomas after starting Henry and Achan. I think he would have liked his team a lot better if he wouldn't have went double elite QB, but at least he left it at just 2. I'll give him credit for that. Oh, I hate it when it does that. We'll call out the team in a second. Let me catch up a little on this chat. What's up, Josh? I don't recognize you in here, but glad to see you. Welcome. Hit the like, subscribe if you would like to do that. Also, we are here 6 nights a week drafting best ball teams. Sometimes it's solo. Sometimes we have friends of the stream like Hartman and Huhames and all of our other fun YouTube creators. Josh said he missed out on the promo code. Huhames got it 2 days ago. On DK and drafters, I usually do a 3-5-9-3 just in case of injury. I mean, that's smart. One thing I've talked about it before, up until about 2 weeks after I started streaming this year, the last 2 years, I played almost all of my volume on DraftKings. And I will say that, like, I feel like only having 18 rounds, I actually like it better because I do a lot of homework. I do constantly think about best ball, a sicko level amount from the time I wake up till pretty much the time I go to bed. And yeah, with 18 rounds, like you can't be safe at everywhere, right? With 18 rounds, you have to pick and choose. It's true what they say that, like, some of your best teams are going to be the teams that you walk away from that team feeling really, really iffy about a certain position, and you really need to get lucky here at running back, or you really need these 2 tight ends to do something for you. And if they do, man, my quarterbacks, my running backs, my receivers, they're all good. So I actually am finding that I enjoy it more, and I think that overall it's made me even a better drafter. I always thought of myself as a pretty good drafter, but it's made me even better because you really have to plan the team out more. You can't just rely on, oh well, I'm a little weak at receiver, so I'll just make it a 9 receiver team or a 10 receiver team, and I'm still decent at running back and quarterback and tight ends because we have those 2 extra picks to work with. People are starting to take Hurts in the 4th and push D. Smith to the 5th. Incredible value on both. It always seems to happen in my drafts. Like a draft like this, where I'm on the right side of the board, Hurts will go there in the 5th. That's why I don't have a lot of Hurts, is because when I am on the front side of the board, it seems like he almost always gets taken in the 4th before I want to take him. What up, Putt Daddy? Good to see you in here. If I get an elite QB, I stick with 2. If I get 2 QBs from good offenses, I keep it at 2. Sometimes I'll keep it with just 2 if I really feel good about them and they're stacked up. If it's not one of the top 4, I do tend to go more 3 quarterback unless I can get Kittle and Hampton. Drafters is full PPR, and it is 20 rounds, but it's just season long. Think of the marathon on Underdog. Like, you draft your team and then it's who Hames can probably well hear he did there. Who Hames is it a it's still weeks 1 through 17 though, correct? You basically from my understanding, what I remember last year, it's 1 through 17 rounds, and it's just cumulative score like the marathon on here, where like you draft a team at the end of week 17, you're playing against the whole entire field. If there's 150,000 entries, you're playing against 150,000 entries to win the big money. You need one of the net teams that over the course of 17 weeks really killed it. I'm going to start my promo information and set up my promo information in the morning, hoping to make a small clip for it. Mark says he's liking the team. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. How many super flex you got left, Who Hames? You maxing it? 20-ish. Let's see, I got 9-1. Mark's got to get back to work. Superflex is getting close to closing. I'm going to skip to the end here. You guys are killing it in the comment section today. We'll go back and try to catch up with some more. What do you guys want to draft? Talk to me. I'm open for whatever. We're going to go hop in a draft. I'm going to call out this team. If no one recommends anything, I'll just pick one, and y'all are still more than welcome to hop in it. What's up, David? Good to see you in here, my man. We finished this pit bull with a 2.673. Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence at QB, Hall, Kamara, Scatterboo, Wright, Hunter, and Brashard Smith. I like that running back room. I think it's pretty good overall. Nice little mix. Didn't get my get-ins and my Will Shipley on this particular team, but that's okay. Can't get them on every team. I've been really into Brashard Smith lately. Cody from Off the Schneid really kind of made me go back and do some more work on him and look into him some more because I don't really like Pacheco. I'm worried about his particular injury he's coming back from, and I don't really want to draft Hunt, and I think he's just washed, honestly. So I've been trying to get some more Smith when I miss out on Shipley and Giddens. Nico, BTJ, Rome, Pittman, Shard Bateman, De'Ami Brown, and Mitchell as a receiver room. The top two are going to carry the team. We got some nice little depth behind them. Ended up going an unusual 3 tight end team with Hawkinson. Normally with Hawkinson, I'd take like a Kincaid and call it a day, or a Strange and call it a day. This particular case, these two both stacked with my quarterback. In the particular Strange pick, I didn't really like anything else there at the time better. So we said, why not? Let's go with 3. No poodles or pit bulls left for me, just waiting on new contests. Eliminator it is. Eliminator and Superflex are probably what I was going to pick anyways. Let's go do an eliminator. That's what we did last night for the second draft. Let's do it again tonight. I had kind of cooled off on eliminators for a while. I'm up to 34 of them. We'll do a 20-second eliminator in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are jumping in it now. And it snapped field on us. Sorry, David, if you didn't get in. Kind of hope you did, though, my man. You'll have to tell us how your team turns out because I believe you are going to be in the overfill room. We did get the 101 for what it's worth. I hate it when that happens. Who Hames, are you maxing the eliminator? I'm not going to max it, but I do want somewhere in the range of, let's say, 80 to 100 teams. who Hames does plan on maxing the Eliminator. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Tried to count it down. As soon as I jumped in it, there was no spots left. That's going to happen sometimes. I didn't want to try the hop in the one right after it that you guys are probably in because the last time that I tried that, it didn't turn out too well for one of the teams. I don't, I'm generally a one draft guy. I like to really hone in and focus even when I'm drafting on my own. There are times, like on vacation, there was a couple nights where it was really late and I wanted to get two drafts in and I didn't really have time to do two drafts, so I waited till the first was about halfway over or so and then started the other one. I don't know. I guess it's that my wife always tells me I have a very one track mind. I don't agree with her on that all the time, but I do like to focus on the one draft that I'm on. Putt Daddy is at 60 limbs and will probably cap it there. Should have saved some for later in the summer, my man. I was slow because I didn't know if you were doing the 20 or 30-second one. Ah, my bad. I thought I had said it. Maybe I didn't. The Eliminator Overflow draft won't fill for an hour. It'll fill pretty quick if y'all are in a 20-second one. Who Hames and David, did y'all fill already or are y'all still waiting? And are you guys in the 20-second one too, I'm assuming? We started Jamar Chase. We're gonna probably, unless something changes my mind as the summer goes on, probably going to take Chase at the 101 just because I want as much Chase as I can, Eliminator or regular draft. I know. The Bengals always start slow, but there's also reports about them being aware of that and playing their players a little bit in the preseason this year, which maybe it's not smart to not play at all in the preseason. I left the room because it's super slow to fill at this time of night. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll get in it. Maybe we can do a couple eliminators tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Tuesday? Yeah, I'll be on for sure tomorrow. Wednesday night, I think I'm going to be over on Chris the Candyman's channel doing some drafts with him and Hartman, the three of us together. It's not set in stone yet. We kind of talked about it a little bit today. I think that's going to start about 8:45 Central Time. Depending on how late we are over there, I may still try to hop on here and do one on my channel when we're done. If we end up being on there super late, then probably not. But you guys know who the Candyman is over at the Fantasy Garage. So come on over there Wednesday night and hang out with us. Let's see what we want to do here. It's getting back to us at the turn. Garrett Wilson is almost an auto click for me here. I'm going to take Wilson. And I'm going to reach down and pull Lamar up because even though he goes a little earlier in eliminators, I I don't see him going quite at the one turn. And again, like it's the eliminator. We're just going to be playing heads up against people after week one. So it's not like I'm not trying to do it to be unique in the same aspect that we normally would for thinking of the playoff weeks. We want a team that's unique and can stick out from the rest. But at the same time, like this is going to be a really, really hard tournament. You know, we talked about it last night during the eliminator draft that only 25% of the people are going to be left going into the third week of the season. And so, like, especially if you get a team that starts getting to like week 5, week 6, even that early on in the season, you're gonna really need a team that can stand out. So I think Lamar is the most consistent quarterback. He was last year. He had very, very good weeks almost every single week of the year, even more so than Josh Allen. Josh Allen had a couple weeks that like probably wouldn't have got you there. And I want as much Lamar as I can. So we're going to start with Chase and we're going to start with Wilson and we'll put Lamar with them. Feel like we're getting really good quarterback points. Both of these two guys are going to be heavily targeted from their quarterbacks. At the 4 or 5 turn, we will probably try to double tap running back because we also don't want to get too far behind in the eliminator. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was talking with Hartman and Chris today, actually, on my flight home from Chicago yesterday. I had downloaded that one because I saw Saturday that they were doing it, but we were busy and I didn't get a chance to watch it. So I downloaded it on YouTube and I watched that draft on the flight back. They had an interesting team. I'm going to do a big gorilla at some point. Never done one, but it's just a draft. I've never done any of the FFPC stuff either. I would have to really do my homework on it just because I know it's like the tight end premium thing, which I've never done tight end premium. If any of you don't know what that is, it's basically you just get like 1.5 points per reception from your tight ends. They took Brock Bowers with the second overall pick because of that. It's getting back to us, so let's hop on over. Probably would like to double tap running back here. We would love it if Mixon came to us. This guy has 2 running backs, so he might not go running back, but I bet Troy takes a running back. If so, no big deal. There's still some other guys we like. We could grab a Kamara. We could grab a Walker. I think that's the road I want to go, though. And he went DK Metcalf, so we will actually take Joe Mixon and Kamara. See what comes back around to us. Yeah. See, I'm not in any. I over the years, you know, about 4 years ago, I was probably in about 10 different, you know, regular season long type leagues, but it's like the more that I got into best ball, I kind of started dropping out of all of the ones that weren't my favorite ones that I've been in forever. Now I'm just in 4 total. One of them I've ran forever with a couple of my longtime fantasy buddies, I guess you'd call them. Dirty P says maybe late August he would consider a gorilla. June is just ballsy. Yeah, yeah, because they're not cheap. I think they said that one that the gorilla is that the one they were doing. It's like a $350 buy-in, I think it is. One day maybe I'll do something like that. Probably not this year. This year we want to just, with it being our first year streaming and it being our first year most if not all of my volume on Underdog, I really just want to stick to it so I can play as many of the different contests that interest me from Underdog. Because a lot of them are, kind of new. Like the sprint, I want to draft. I did the 7 sprint teams already for the little promo thing that they had. But the sprint really intrigues me. And I don't know how many of them I'll end up doing. But I do want to do some more as the summer goes on because honestly, like I was thinking about it a while back, a couple weeks ago. I think I even talked about it on one of my streams. Literally, how I build best ball teams, the things that I think about, and the things that are priority to me, really, I think are kind of suited for the sprint. Just because, like, of all of my, when I go through the checklist of my priorities, like, the week 17 specific bring back stuff, that's always kind of, it's a priority, but it's the last of my priority. Like I will not take a guy that I think is a worse pick than player B just because he's a bring back. Like sure, if player A and player B I have about the same or I'm about the same rank on them, yeah, I'm going to break a tie to week 17. It just makes sense. But my priorities is always one, thinking about just the overall structure of my team and then getting as much team correlation as I can. And then two, kind of in general thinking about their whole playoff week because we also have to advance out of week 15 and week 16 to even get to week 17. Let's see what we want to do here. I know I'm taking Judkins. I don't know who I want to take with him. I don't really like Godwin and Addison in the eliminators. It's probably out of Jacoby Myers or reaching down for Jaden Reed. 8 and 5. Either one is okay. Let's go with. I didn't get the switch in time. Oh well, no biggie. I like both of them. I was either gonna go Reed or Myers. I was kind of changing my mind at the last minute and trying to switch over to Myers, but we didn't get it in time. No biggies. We were okay with either one of them. So far, we have Chase, Wilson. Then we grabbed Lamar, Mixon, Kamara, and Judkins at running back. Reed as our third receiver. Feeling pretty good about it so far. One I joined 3 years ago. Me and my coworkers have won 2 of the 3 years it has existed. In 40 of my 60 eliminator drafts, I have Lamar, Allen, or Daniels. What is your exposure to elite QBs in eliminator? I'll go look at that in just a second for you. Not extremely high. I go a lot of running back early. I mix it up. Y'all know my strategy is basically any type of draft I'm doing. I just want to get, for the most part, the best picks in each round based on my rankings and what I think. Let's go look. I bet you I'm somewhat high on the elite QBs. Surprise, surprise. Lamar Jackson is my third highest owned quarterback in the eliminator out of 34 teams. I have 20% of him. Let's find the other guys. I have 6% Jaden and 6% Allen. So when I get my elite QB, more times than not, it's Jackson. Action Jackson. Have 20% Fields, have 29% CJ Stroud. I guess for me, it ends up mostly being Lamar or go with three quarterbacks. It's probably why like I have a lot of Fields and I have a lot of CJ. They're guys that are later in the draft when I don't take Lamar, or it's not one of the teams that I did get Allen or Daniels. Then it's always, especially in the eliminator, it's always going to be a 3 QB build then. Like this is one of my favorite things to do is take Lamar with Fields in the eliminator. And we have Wilson, so it kind of makes a lot of sense, that aspect too. We're going to reach a little bit and grab Mark Andrews. I still stack in the eliminators. You know, it's funny. I was talking about it last night. I actually started, probably my first 5, 6, 7 eliminator drafts real early in the season. And I really wasn't thinking I wanted to stack a lot, but just the more that I really looked at the structure of the eliminator and really started thinking about exactly how freaking hard it's going to be to get a team, somewhat deep in the season. And that kind of flipped my thinking on it a little. And that kind of has me building with a lot more correlation and just trying to go after the teams that I think are going to be really killing it this year. And I definitely try to, watch my bye weeks. I don't worry as much about like cross positions. Like I have Judkins in week 9 and I have Wilson in week 9. I try for the most part, especially with my first 3 to 4 receivers. I try to my best to get players I like that don't have overlapping bye weeks. And same thing with running backs. My first 2 to 3 running backs, I try to do my best to make sure their bye weeks don't overlap. Of course, we don't necessarily want overlapping quarterbacks, especially on a team that I'm only going to do 2 quarterbacks like this one. That's kind of how I've been playing the eliminators or building my teams, I should say. I do use your chart from time to time in the eliminators. I actually I don't know where I had my paper at. I lost it or somewhere around here on my desk. My desk is a mess right now. But I did some work on it and one night I talked about on one of my streams, like going off of your chart. I told them where to find your chart in the Discord and everything. But I put listed teams that, I was specifically in on, whether it was their passing game or their running game or whatnot. And there was actually a few teams that I put on there that I'm just kind of trying to stay away from. I need to find that paper though. I don't know what happened to it. There was a couple teams in particular that like of their what is it 5 weeks on the chart, right? And of their first 5 weeks, they had like 4 out of 5 games on the road or something like that. I like taking wide receiver 1 of the elite quarterback in the eliminator. I like the idea of possibly nerfing the elite QB I face. That is pretty smart. But yeah, shout out to you, Who Hames. That is a really nice chart to use. I don't agree with like that right side. I think it's supposed to be like strength of schedule or something like that. I kind of just look at it on my own though. The other main part of the chart where it shows you each matchup that the team plays in the first 5 weeks. Let's see what we want to do here. I think we want to do that. Nothing I really want to do right there. The first pick, I know we want to go Dobbins. Week 6 works kind of nice with our receivers. Probably going to go Kurt. Yeah, because there'll be some other running backs that we like coming up. Sitting with the 2-4-4-1. I'm kind of really liking this eliminator, if I have to be honest. Lamar and Fields, you know, I need to. I'll do it. I'll do it at the end or something. I want to use that tool that the best ball overlay has. I'm curious how much Jackson and Fields I have together. This is actually probably still showing. Yeah. Who Hames, I need to get with you one day and talk to you or something. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but the only way, whenever you switch drafts, hold on a second. Let me do something. I have trouble sometimes. How come it's not showing me Eliminator? Maybe I just need to refresh it? Sometimes if I'm doing like a minute ago, we were doing the pit bull. What do I need to do? Go back, Eliminator, and extract teams out. Sometimes when is it just me or am I doing something wrong? Those of y'all who are more experienced than me with this best ball overlay tool. So like I was doing a pit bull, right? And I had it set up to where, it was showing me basically my exposures and stuff for all of the regular style tournaments, which the pit bull is. Now we're over here in the eliminator. And every time I jump to a different format like this, like if I go to a super flex from a pit bull, or if I go to a eliminator from a pit bull, I have to go and the little extract team thing. I have to go and extract all the teams again. I normally just do it on a different tab, and then once they're extracted, if I refresh it again over here, then it's like it'll get it showing me my eliminator stuff. Yeah, like that, like it just did that time. I don't know. Am I doing something wrong, or is that what you just have to do if you're switching from one style of tournament to a different style tournament? Yeah, I guess that's a different way of doing it. I just go on a different tab and hit the extract teams, and then I guess since that's the last thing that I extracted was the eliminator, like in this case, it's just, I guess, to me a little weird that it doesn't automatically do it for us, but it is what it is. Overall, I'm liking the tool so far. I will say that. Probably going to go running back. Might just go running back, and be done at running back. I know I want Jaden Blue. No, there's some running backs that I like later, and I like those five. All of those five, I think, will be involved early. Week 14 for receiver still works out very nicely. We're going to go with old man Thielen. Hopefully, he can give us half a season before he gets old or starts feeling his age. We're really liking it though, like I didn't purposely do it this way. Like I said, I try to avoid overlapping bye weeks, but I still at the end of the day are picking the players that I like. But just the way this particular team's working out through 5 receivers and 5 running backs, we don't have any overlapping running back buys. We don't have any overlapping wide receiver buys. We're just keeping it at 2 quarterbacks with Lamar and Fields. So that could open us up to taking a third tight end. Both of them will be later in the draft, though. Feeling pretty good about this team, though. Feeling pretty good about it. Yeah, Spike Week took every single type, and you could toggle. I never used the Spike Week stuff before. This was the first year that I really bought or subscribed to anything like outside of like I always buy ETR stuff because it's cheap and I like reading some of their articles and I like using their ranks just to predict the market. They're so big and they're so cheap. So many people use ETR's ranks that what I've found over the years is guys that they are uh, pretty decently above the market or pretty decently below the market over time without any other news, those players will tend to drift either up or down ADP wise to get closer to where ETR is in their ranks. Probably just because they're one of the cheapest and they're a well known thing. And so, probably my guess is lots of people who maybe don't subscribe to some of the more expensive ones do subscribe to them at least. Who Hames is getting some early picks finally. Steve must not be in your drafts. Who Hames, to be fair, if Lamar blows up, he's probably hit Bateman downfield for a score or two. All right, let's flip back over. Let's see if we can finish this sucker off because we're really, really liking what we got going so far. If I try to push it to that, it's not going to happen. See what's over here at receiver and tight end. Think we're going to go Zach Ertz. And we do not have Bateman or Flowers. So even though we already have Andrews, we're going to take D Hop. I don't know. Y'all call me crazy. And I'm starting to lean towards it's one I'm just willing to be wrong about. But I here in the last couple weeks am getting more and more into Hopkins. Like if his knee was really bothering him and that's why he looked slow in Kansas City last year and did not look good, because I'll be the first to admit, like I remember telling Mark last year just watching, some games and stuff, especially in late season games in Kansas City, he looked slow and couldn't get open, didn't get any separation. How much of it is he's just lost that much versus he was playing through a knee injury that never got better? He's always been a pretty good red zone target, despite what Who Hames will tell you about him. He once was a very elite receiver, and he won with route running and getting open, and yes, sometimes using his hands a little, but in a legal way, of course. And I just feel like in that Baltimore offense, he's gonna be good for a couple of spike weeks. What's up, Bindles? I caught the first part of Ballsy tonight. If y'all don't watch the Ballsy show on Mondays, y'all need to go check it out. Bindles has some of the best intros in the business with all the music and techno graphics and stuff. It's pretty awesome intro, and the show is really good too. I need to go watch the rest of it. Normally on Tuesday mornings, I'll go back and catch the rest of it. For my deep dives, I'm just looking for whatever guys you want. If there's a guy that you want to know my thoughts on, it could be late round guys, it could be early round guys. Whoever you put in the comment section whenever the video is not live anymore, so that it's easy for me to always see and go back and find. I'll tell you my thoughts on them. We'll do like we did tonight. While we're talking about them, we'll put our percentages for regular drafts and for eliminators. Tonight it was Lad McConkey. We'll do a little research like we did, with stats and stuff like that to kind of back up why we're either in or why we're out. By the way, if you guys haven't hit the like button already, I'd appreciate it if you would. If you've happened upon my channel and you're enjoying it and you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. We're here 6 nights a week for you, sometimes with guests, sometimes by ourselves. We try to keep it interesting. We try to keep it fun. We try to keep thinking of new things to add. Hoping to get a little free time. I got some more players that I want to make those little player clips for, but I just haven't had time lately to get it done. As it works back to us here, we're in the 16th, 17th, and what we would really like to do is double tap running back and receiver. We're going to get one of the running backs we like a lot, either Giddens or Shipley. I have less Giddens in the eliminator than Shipley. I love taking Keenan Allen. He's going to sign somewhere because my bank account and my bankroll needs him to. And then we're going to take our boy Giddens. Speaking of player clips, you know what time it is. I will not stop drafting Giddens. Just can't do it. Like JT always gets hurt, right? Like he always misses a few games with an ankle here, an ankle there. And I draft a good amount of JT also. So I'm not necessarily wishing an injury on him. I don't wish an injury on anybody. But that being said, in the case that Taylor was to have a major injury, let's say midway through the year or even late in the year, Giddens is going to absolutely a league winner. There is no doubt in my mind about it. The dude is electric. Indy's going to be running the ball. He can catch out of the backfield. I can't think of the other guy's name right now that's there. I know who it is. I just his name slipped my mind because he's an afterthought to me. The old Bears running back is there now. Somebody in the chat help me out because he slipped my mind. But I'm not worried about him at all. Yeah, that's funny. He just was frozen in place. Yeah, it was a pretty sick juke. No, if Walter Payton was there, I probably would not be drafting Giddens. I think we are going to go with the third tight end on this team, assuming that there's somebody there who's not totally gross. Lamar and Fields going to get it done for us at quarterback. Hopefully, Fields has one of his spike weeks in week 7 because we are still going to be in it because this team is built to take some head to head matchups and dominate them. Joe Mixon, Kamara, Judkins, Dobbins, Blue, Giddens at the running back position. I feel like these top 5 guys, in my opinion, they're all going to be Mixon and Kamara are the starters. I believe Judkins is the starter, and I'm really high on him in general this year. Yes, Dobbins is sharing the backfield, but Dobbins is going to be involved. He looked pretty good when he was healthy last year. Denver's got a good old line. Denver's got a good defense. They could be icing some games late in the game. And I'm kind of in on Blue. I started the year out on Blue, and it was actually Chris who kind of got me rethinking my stance on Blue. And so, like I do anytime I start questioning my stance on somebody, I went back and did some more work on him. I saw most of his games being a Longhorn fan. And it's more so a combination of he's very, very fast and he can catch the ball. And if Dallas doesn't get any other running backs, we're going to go Jatavian Sanders for a third tight end. He doesn't normally come all the way back like that, so we'll take it. But in Blue's case, no, I don't think Blue's going to, jump in and take 19 carries a game and catch 6 balls a game. But I think he's the type, on a team like this, an eliminator team, he can definitely be playing early for the Cowboys. They need any kind of juice they can get at running back. And he's my 5th running back. So all I'm really hoping for is, hey, give me a couple really good spike weeks to help win a head to head matchup. The weeks that you don't, I have Mixon, I have Kamara, we have Judkins, even Dobbins to help hold it down. Giddens is kind of our, well, if JT's hurt, now he's an awesome play if this team is still alive in the eliminator. Receiver room, we started with Chase. Chase is Chase. We have Wilson, Reed, Kirk, Thielen, D Hop, and Keenan Allen. That's part of why my last 3 receivers, I went with like Thielen, Hopkins, and Keenan Allen. Hopkins because he's stacked with Lamar. Thielen because I think I can count on him early in the year, especially. And Allen is going to earn targets when he signs, no matter where he signs. Look at the Bears last year in an overall crappy offense, crappy scheme, crappy play calling with DJ Moore there, with the rookie Rome there. Keenan was still the dude. So as my last receiver on a 7 receiver build, yeah, give me that. They'll kind of, because after Jamar and Wilson, I don't love Reed as a third wide receiver. I like Reed. I like him better if he's maybe my 4th. Same thing with Kirk. I don't love Kirk as my 4th receiver. I like him better if he's my 5th. But I think I'll get some nice weeks out of Reed and Kirk along the way. So we wanted to make sure that instead of maybe taking, like a Leggett, y'all know I like Leggett also from Carolina, but he to me is more of a like when I take him, it's a team that I feel better about, maybe that third and fourth receiver. And so I would rather take Leggett because I'm just in that particular team build, hoping that he gives me a couple really nice spike weeks. Hopefully they're nicely timed where it really helps the team. Whereas with this team, I wanted to go with three guys that I just felt pretty good about having a consistent floor at least, giving me some help the weeks that Reed and Kirk don't really do a lot. We went Mark Andrews because he paired with Lamar, Zach Ertz because he was good last year. Yes, he could be hurt by Debo being there. They probably, work in a lot of the same areas, but he was a favorite target of Daniels last year. So I don't see any reason why that doesn't continue again this year. And since we felt really good about our bye weeks and stuff at running back and receiver, and we were keeping it at two quarterbacks, we then decided to add on Sanders just for a little extra help in the tight end room. We will catch up on the chat for a little bit here. And then I think we're going to call it a night tonight. I got some stuff going on in the morning I got to get up for. Where did we leave off at? Hey, what's up, my man? Good to see you dropping in here. Not really sure what the Herbert question. If that's who you want me to do a deep dive on and you're still around, do me a favor though, because I'm old and my memory's not the best anymore. As soon as this ends here in a couple minutes, jump back in and put Herbert in the comment section, like post live stream. That's where I'm asking you guys to do it because then it's easy for me to see and go back. Blue finally in the range. He's almost draftable though. I like him where he's at. I wasn't clicking him at all before Dobbins and before Chubb signed, just because I was a little worried about where Dobbins and Chubb would go. To be honest with you, I saw the Cowboys as a team that could use another running back. We all think Javante's washed. Do we really think Sanders is going to be the savior there? No, even though we take him at the end of drafts. He's starting to move up. Miles Sanders is starting to move up to a range where I don't click him anymore. I was taking him just because you could get him for free at the very end of drafts, but now he's starting to move up a little more and a little more each week, I've noticed. Who Hames, I'm saving most of my BBMs for late July and August for more info on players like Blue. That is smart. I'm with Who Hames. I talk about it all the time. I'm not going to draft any BBMs myself other than ones that I do on stream with people. Honestly, for $5 less, I would much rather draft the sprint. Like I just talked about earlier, how I feel like the way I build my team is kind of exactly how you would want to build a team for the sprint. So it kind of plays into how I like to build as far as my priorities. And there's just so many other great contests too that I don't know. I'm okay not having a lot of BBM teams. I'll have some shots at it because I will keep, bringing on guests and stuff, and we'll do some more from here and there with my guests. And a lot of those teams that I've drafted with people have turned out pretty well. I see you're doing a lot of super flex. Who Hames does a lot of everything. Let's just say like it is. I don't know how many of the different contests my man is maxing, but he's maxing probably a lot of them. Phil Maffa is just waiting for that JT Sanders injury. You keep talking about him, Mark. I looked into him a little bit. I don't know. I just don't see a ton there that super interest me in him. He's got a lot of guys, I think, ahead of him. I'm sprint over BBM myself. That's what I was just saying. Great minds think alike. Who? I'm just waiting for Cowboys to trade for someone even more gross, like Kareem Hunt. Yeah, that would suck. That would suck a lot. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to leave you with my final thought of when in doubt, draft the Ravens. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me.
I think Lamar and that offense is going to be on a mission this year. What is
Got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits.